episode of the Knives Monroe Daily Show. This is a podcast where I'm going to show up like this daily on my own, Bill Burr, Monday morning podcast style, and just go. I have a topic. This one's about gatekeeping your peace, and we're going to get into that. But first, I kind of just want to do a little housekeeping. I've done this podcast and I've rebranded it more times than I can count. And I've shifted gears more times than I can count. And I'm going to see how long I can do this. Maybe I do it for 2 days. Maybe I don't upload tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know. I could crash and burn. And that excites me and it gets me pumped to wake up in the morning and record something. And I need that. And I want to show up for you guys. And so that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to use my tools. I'm going to do what I know how to do, and that's record podcasts and talk to you guys. And I have a goal. Casey Neistat did his podcast for a little over 18 months. It was probably, depending on where, if you start his vlog to the end of his vlog proper, it was something like 600 days. But he goes on interviews and say that he did vlogs for 800 days, because I think he's talking about like the accumulative. So I want to do this for 800 days as well, a daily podcast. If Casey can do the daily vlog for 600 to 800 days in a row, which is way more overproduced and telling way more stories than what I'm even capable of, surely I can sit down and talk in front of a camera for 800 days. So that's the goal. I'll see if I can pull it off. I'm probably going to fail spectacularly, so stick around for that. But let's get into the podcast. I want to talk about gatekeeping your peace, which is a new concept for me. There are people in my life that are near and dear to me that keep me up at night sometimes. I worry, I hyperfixate, I start doom spiraling, and if I don't take my meds, it's bad news bears for what's going on in my head. I start thinking the worst, and it really consumes me, and it robs my peace. Meanwhile, these people don't give a fuck about me. They don't call me and ask me how I'm doing. They're robbing my peace, and that's unacceptable. So recently, my son just turned 18 a couple months ago. Actually, it's been half a year, but he just graduated last Friday. And something changed in me when this happened, He's a man, and he's been a man for quite some time. And I think about the last 5 years, I started doing the daily podcast in 2020. And then I stopped when the pandemic happened, March 2020. I couldn't do it. I probably went like almost 100 days in a row. And I just didn't want to talk about catastrophe and like what everybody was talking about. And everybody created a podcast at that time. It wasn't fun anymore. So what have I done in the past 4 years? I mean, I've been living my life. I took my kids the distance. I took Aiden, my son, he did it all on his own. But like, I provided for him and gave him a platform to go out there and have fun and be himself and show up and be the best version of himself. And that's what I've been doing. I've been living. Livin. I've been living. And now I have something to say again. But when you keep your gates open and you don't have that force field around your heart and around your art, people be dropping missiles and bombs on that shit because they're bored. You have to close those gates and gatekeep your peace, because at the end of the day, why do you want to win the lottery? Why do you want to bring that movie to life? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to be known for what it is you want to do? For what? Like, isn't it for that peace of mind? Isn't it for that that satisfaction, and you can rest your head on that pillow at night and say, I did it? Like, isn't that why you're working so hard? Give yourself that peace and now, man. Shut those gates. Keep that shit close to you. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. If you don't want to put it out there, don't put it out there. Protect yourself. Because there are people out there that don't care, And I'm a boring ass motherfucker. I live a boring life. And only until very recently, the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, have I thought that that was something admirable. Because Kendrick says, dude, you ain't got no dirt on me. I live a boring ass life. What are you going to say? Like, I do the same thing. I stay inside. That's me, man. And that's been me. And going back to Casey, I haven't been wanting to vlog my life or show what I do or where I live or any of that because I was out here living it, man. Like, I was there. I was present for it. I didn't miss it, And I am boring. And that is like an invitation to drama. Like, people want to pour their drama on you. And I'm too old for that shit, bro. I'm pushing 40. I'm 36 years old. I'm too old to be playing those fucking ghetto games. Like, that's not for me. That's not what I'm about. That's not what protects my art, what protects my heart. I have to gatekeep my peace. I have to build a force field around it. Otherwise, people infiltrate it and they try to tear it down from the inside. Anywho, gatekeep your peace. Do whatever it takes. I think that's truly important. I mean, I really do. And that's what I wanted to talk about on the first episode of this daily podcast. It's going to evolve. I've done this before. Like, I'm not going to say I'm never going to interview people again. I, of course, will. People invite themselves on my show. I have the platform. I'm going to interview people and talk. And, I just can't. I just want them to come to me. I don't want to go out there and put the bait out there on the hook. And I rather they come to me. And if I show up every day and I document versus create and I just present myself, and instead of binging a show on television, I just show up and I do this instead, people are going to come to me. There's going to be an audience. Oh, another thing. If you've made it this far, let me know in the comments. Another goal I have is for one video to hit 1 million views. One of these videos, one of these weird ass videos to hit 1 million views. If I can do that, I think the audience, the stickiness, people will stick around. Not 1 million people, maybe 10,000 people will stick around. And then that could be the tribe. And that's the goal. One video gets 1 million views and 10,000 people stick around. 500 people stick around. That'd be sick. And then we can be a tribe together. What will that do to the podcast? So we're going to see this evolve. I don't travel very often. I'm going to Houston in June 15th. And so I'll have to take a little kit or film this in advance and put it out there. And however, man, I'm going to figure it out. I've done it before. I like working with the camera and the microphone. That's all I need. That's all I've ever needed. And I'm going to continue to do that. But what a journey this is going to be. And I got to say, I have the topics, man. I have over 150 ideas. I've been just pouring ideas. They've just been falling out of my head. And that hasn't happened. And I haven't been that inspired in a very long time. In at least 5 years. And before that, 5 years before that. So this doesn't happen very often. This perfect storm. And I'm going to capitalize on it. And we're going to have some fun. And I hope you guys stick around for this. So that would mean the world to me. I'm going to show up for you. Please show up for me. And keep a force field around your heart. I love you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next podcast.